Right, so get ready for a deep dive into, the Necronomicon,
Okay.
which if you don't know, it's that book of ancient lore, forbidden magic. It always seems to pop up in, horror movies, occult whispers, that kind of thing.
Right. Not exactly light reading material.
Definitely not something you'd take to the beach.
Yeah.
So people want to know, is it real? Where did it come from? What kind of dark secrets are held within its pages? All good questions.
Yeah.
So to answer that, we're cracking open the Simon Necronomicon,
Okay.
which claims to be a translation of the real deal.
Well, that's important I mean, even among, people who study this kind of material, this book is controversial, to say the least.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And we should probably get this out of the way right up front. I mean, we're talking about a 20th century text that claims to be based on writings from a mad Arab who supposedly translated even older, even more dangerous texts. It's like the premise alone is pure horror movie.
Right. And it gets even wilder because this book doesn't just exist in isolation. It connects its own brand of magic, I guess you could say, to some pretty big names. We're talking H.P. Lovecraft, the master of cosmic horror.
Of course. Yeah.
And even Aleister Crowley, who was a real-life occultist with a, shall we say, a colorful reputation.
A bit of a history there.
To say the least. So it's like this book is intentionally trying to place itself within a lineage.
Right, like dropping Easter eggs for the occult enthusiast.
Exactly.
So, okay, what's the connection then? What ties these figures, these names, to a book that's claiming to be some kind of ancient grimoire?
It all goes back to ancient Sumeria. The Simon Necronomicon uses Sumerian mythology as the foundation for its magical system.
Interesting. So we're not just talking about like some random made-up mythology. It's tapping into a very specific, very old way of seeing the universe.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting because Sumeria, they were obsessed with the unseen gods, demons, magic. They believed that humanity was caught in this cosmic drama, always at the mercy of forces beyond our control.
Okay, now that's giving me chills. So we're talking about a worldview where essentially humanity is just caught in the middle of this cosmic tug of war.
Right, and that's the world the Necronomicon wants to pull us into.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about some kind of metaphorical tug of war. This book presents a very literal battle between powerful forces.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a battle with very real stakes, at least according to the Necronomicon. On one side, you have the elder gods. These are forces of order, creation. Think of them as benevolent, but also distant, existing outside of our realm of understanding.
Okay, so not necessarily the quote-unquote good guys, but not exactly out to get us either.
Well, that's the thing about ancient Sumerian mythology even. The lines between good and evil, they weren't always so clear-cut. It was more about understanding the motivations and powers of these beings, regardless of our very human ideas of morality.
Right, because then you have the antagonists in all of this, those lurking, monstrous ancient ones, the ones who are trying to pull humanity towards chaos and destruction, right?
And this is where it gets really wild. According to the Necronomicon, we're descended from both.
Wait, what?
Yeah, talk about a complicated family tree. This idea that humanity carries within it the legacy of both the elder gods and the ancient ones, that's central to the Necronomicon's whole thing.
So we're walking around with the genetic memory of this epic cosmic battle encoded in our DNA. No wonder things feel a little off sometimes.
It's not just, encoded in our DNA.
All right.
It's in the actual fabric of the universe, at least according to the Necronomicon.
Okay.
The book describes this constant tension, this struggle between, order and chaos. And where does that leave humanity?
Right, like what are we supposed to do with that?
Exactly. We're stuck in the middle, caught in this cosmic crossfire.
So we're not just passive observers in this cosmic horror show.
Right.
We're actually, participants.
They're part of the drama, whether we like it or not.
No pressure, right.
No.
But the book doesn't just, describe the problem, does it? It also claims to offer a solution.
Wow.
Or at least a way to, like, tip the scales.
That's where things get really interesting. And also, according to the book, incredibly dangerous. Because we're talking about rituals, incantations,
Right.
ways to access hidden knowledge, to actually wield this powerful magic.
Like giving you the tools to actually, like, do something.
Yeah, but it's not like flipping a light switch.
Right.
The Necronomicon is full of warnings about what happens if you try to mess with these forces, these powers that are beyond human comprehension.
I mean, it's like that old saying, right? Just because you can open a portal to another dimension doesn't mean you should. Yeah.
The book actually describes these gates, openings to different spheres of existence, each one ruled by a specific planetary deity. It even gives you instructions on how to summon a watcher, a kind of supernatural bodyguard who can help you navigate these dangerous realms.
So, like, you can have a cosmic bouncer to protect you while you're messing around with forces you don't understand.
Right. But even with a watcher at your side, the Necronomicon is very clear one wrong move could have disastrous consequences. And not just for you, but for anyone and anything around you.
Yikes. Okay. So when we say disastrous consequences, what are we talking about here? Like, what could go wrong?
Well, let's just say the book is pretty vivid when it comes to describing the creatures you might meet on the other side of those gates.
This is where the Necronomicon starts to sound less like an ancient grimoire and more like, a monster movie marathon, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So give me the highlights. What are some of the creepiest, scariest denizens of this Necronomicon universe?
Get ready for some serious nightmare fuel.
Okay.
First up, you've got the Maskim. These are beings that seem to feed off human suffering.
Oh.
Like, imagine a creature whose sole purpose is to cause pain and misery. They're basically the embodiment of cruelty.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass for me.
Okay, what else we got?
How about the Rabishu? These are more like ambush predators,
Okay.
lurking in the shadows, just waiting to pounce. They represent that, that primal fear of the unknown, of something hiding just beyond your perception, waiting to strike.
I'm getting some serious alien vibes from those guys.
Right. And it doesn't stop there, I assume.
Oh, no. It gets worse.
Ah.
Let me introduce you to Lamashta. She's a demoness who, she specifically targets women and children.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she embodies this fear of vulnerability, of something that goes after the innocent, the defenseless.
Okay, Lamashta definitely earns a spot on the most wanted list.
For sure.
I'm sensing a theme here with these creatures. It's not just about being big and scary.
Right.
They seem to tap into these very specific, deep-seated human fears.
Exactly. The Necronomicon, it's not just throwing random monsters at you, right?
Right.
It's crafting these entities that are specifically designed to exploit our vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
To make us question what's lurking in the shadows. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically.
Right.
But, just to up the ante even further, the book also throws in a familiar face, someone you might recognize from pop culture. Pazuzu.
Wait, Pazuzu, as in the demon from The Exorcist.
The one and only.
Wow.
It's almost like the book is trying to say, see, even your scariest movies, they're based on something real.
So it's tapping into this existing cultural fear, this shared sense of dread that we already have about this entity, this demon.
Exactly.
That's pretty clever, actually, from a storytelling perspective. It's like it's purposely blurring the lines between what's fiction, what's reality, trying to make us question everything we think we know about the world around us.
Right, and the things that might be hiding just beyond our perception.
Exactly.
And this is where we have to come back to the Mad Arab.
Oh yeah, the supposed translator of all of this.
Right, because scattered throughout the Simon Necronomicon are these warnings, almost like he's trying to stop us from making the same mistakes that he did.
Shouting from beyond the grave, like, don't say I didn't warn you.
Exactly. And these aren't just, vague pronouncements of doom.
Mm-hmm.
The Mad Arab, he describes his pursuit of this forbidden knowledge, the rituals he performed, the horrors he witnessed firsthand.
Right.
It's like he's painting this picture of someone who's looked into the abyss and is now desperately trying to warn others away from the edge.
Yeah, it's that classic horror trope, right? The expert who knows too much, driven mad by what he's seen.
Exactly.
But instead of, heeding his warnings, we're drawn deeper into the mystery.
Well, that's the nature of curiosity,
Yeah,
right?
For sure. So, okay, after all this, the big question. Is the Simon Necronomicon a genuine ancient text? Is it like a literal gateway to another dimension? Or is it all just a really, really well-crafted work of fiction?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, most scholars agree that the Simon Necronomicon, as we have it today, it's not a genuine ancient text. You can see the connections to Lovecraft, to Crowley, to 20th century occultism.
Right.
It's all there.
But even if it's not, a direct translation of some lost Sumerian grimoire, it's got to be tapping into something real, right? I mean, all those myths, the fears, the rituals, they didn't just come out of nowhere.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think whether or not the Necronomicon is real in the strictest sense of the word.
Yeah.
It's almost beside the point. What matters is that it resonates with us. It speaks to our fascination with the unknown, with the forbidden. This idea that there are forces beyond our understanding, maybe lurking just outside our reality.
It's like we're holding up a mirror to our own anxieties about the universe, about our place in it. And in that reflection, we see things that both terrify us and kind of draw us in at the same time.
Exactly. And it's that push and pull, I think, that makes the Necronomicon so endlessly fascinating.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even in our, technologically advanced world, we're still drawn to these mysteries, to these ancient ideas, to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there are doors we shouldn't open, knowledge we weren't meant to find.
Some things are better left buried. Right?
Perhaps. But then again, that's how the Mad Arab probably felt too.
True enough. Well, that's a chilling thought to end on.
It certainly is.
Well, folks, there you have it. Another deep dive into the unknown. Until next time, try to stay out of the shadows. And whatever you do, if you hear something chanting in Sumerian, maybe just walk away.